The G-Wade Podcast with Deacon Dirty.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy G-Wade holding it down, G-Wade Podcast, and I'm kicking it alongside with my man Deacon.
Dirty.
And we have a very special guest on the show today. Author, singer, host, pastor, Keri Fraser's on the Zoom call with us today. How you doing, sis? I want to say, can I say sis?
Sure.
How you doing, sis?
Well, I'm super awesome.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Again, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. We met about a month ago or so, I think, maybe two. I've seen you before at a few award shows, but I never had the opportunity to meet you. Always wanted to, because I've seen you perform, but you know, I don't like to invade people's space. I wait till it's my turn. And so we met doing some backstage stuff for the Praise Factor Awards.
Yes.
And I will say that I am very impressed with your music. Not that I'm someone to be impressed, but I'm very impressed with your music. I think I let it be known because I'm a fan of Open Heaven.
Oh, thank you.
I love Grace, but Open Heaven is the one. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. You know, something for everyone.
Right. So let's get into it. We're gonna back it up a little bit because I did say singer, author, host, pastor. So we're gonna see if we can touch on all of those.
Oh my.
But we'll back it up just a little bit and start with, you are originally from the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I am proud Virgin Islander. Yes.
So I was getting ready to say, when did you would it be considered come to stateside? Would you say that?
Yeah, you can say come to the U.S.
Come to the U.S. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you grew up in the Virgin Islands till what age before you moved here to the States?
I came to the United States for college first.
Really? Okay.
And then I went back home like the day after graduation.
Like, I'm out.
I didn't stick around. But eventually, after being there for some years, we got that call from God.
Amen.
That call,
Sing
about, I'll say yes to your will and to your way. And then he calls and you're just like, help me, Jesus.
Right. So what was it like?
Truth.
Right. So what was it like growing up? I'm sorry.
People like you to think that when God asks you to do something, you're just like, oh yes, me, I'll do it, Lord. But I did have some kicking and screaming moments. Yeah. Right.
Talking about here I come. No, it don't work like that all the time. Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know if that's because the call is scary or we're not certain that we hearing it correctly, or who, me? You know what I'm saying?
All of the above.
All of the above, right. So how was it growing up in the Virgin Islands? Is it all island? Is it all island? I guess it's all island, right?
Yes, I grew up in the Virgin Islands. It's very small.
Okay.
Very small, but I loved it. Loved the weather, loved the people, loved the beaches. I loved it. And I can assure you, probably God is the only one that could get me out of there.
Wow. And so you said, but then you got the call, and is that when you packed up and moved back here?
Yes.
And did you come to Atlanta first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So why
Atlanta?
As soon as God gives you that reason, I want you to please tell me.
Right.
Right. So that was just our call to come to Atlanta and start a work, and what we did. And so we've been pastoring a church here for about 14 years now.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Abundant Rain
Empowerment Church. Yes.
Yes. With you and your husband, Prophet Dwayne Fraser.
Yes, my beloved.
Beloved. Now, were you always singing? Were you a singer as a child? Were you singing?
I was, your mom puts you in all these plays and you don't have any choice,
Right.
So I did sing, but I think when I came into my own relationship with God, and then that turned more from just I'm singing to really more of a worship and more of that relationship backing it, that I really took it seriously.
Okay.
And realized there was a lot in there for me.
Who discovered your voice? Were you singing in the bathroom, or were you out in the yard?
You know how you get discovered in a small church? You
Okay.
do 50 million things, and then someone go and sing and lead us into worship. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I forgot to add to your list of credits, accountant.
Yes.
You go with the numbers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, I used to be so afraid of numbers, math. I mean, really, I used to get anxiety and flustered and frustrated just thinking about doing it, not doing it, just thinking about doing it. Until one day I decided to say to myself, you know what? Stop saying you hate math and embrace it. And it changed the way I looked at it.
Yeah, that's usually what happens, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Not just with math, you know, with everything, because,
Right.
You know, just for me, I realized that even when I came for this call, for this
Mm-hmm.
assignment, you know, initially everything was just, please, God, when can I go back home? And I realized, I'm telling the truth on your podcast. And I have to say that, you know, because some people think, oh, you're a pastor and you just, you know, don't have these moments, but maybe it'll help somebody. And I was just so resistant to it. But like you said, when I got to the place where I said, you know what, let me embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me embrace and appreciate and just dig deeper into what and why God has called me here.
Yeah.
Things began to turn around, you know. So whether it's math, whether it's a call, it's just most of the time we're just fighting something that if we just embrace it, it really is not as bad as we have in our minds.
I would say the hardest thing to do is always the easiest thing to do, because the hardest thing to do is just getting over the fear of doing it. And once you do it, it's the easiest thing to do. You're like, why didn't I just start that 10 years ago instead of now, you know?
Yeah. You know, that's the thing, you know, when we surrender, you're just like, man, I wasted a whole lot of time fighting this.
Absolutely.
And, you know, at the end of the day, when you embrace it, you realize that, hey, not only is it easy, but it actually might be something I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, so I'm not saying that for everybody with math. Please don't come for me.
But you had gotten your degree in accounting and your master's in Christian education. And so you were already on your way for higher learning. That, you know, I'm a college dropout, so I always applaud those who who go the whole 9 yards. So when was the call? When did you hear it? What was it? What did you feel? What did you hear?
You know what I realized about the call is that, you know, sometimes we look at it as something that's a one-time event. But to be honest with you, when you start to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, it's like there's a call all the time. And every call is kind of leading you in a direction. So even when you answer something where somebody might think that was a big decision to move to some place where you didn't really know people and to pastor. But at the end of the day, when you consider just most of the time, we miss the small calls.
That's
the small calls to service, you know, and what you have to develop more than anything is that submission to the call, whatever the call is. You know, somebody could have gotten a call and said, that's, you know, a call from God that said, call that person right now and pray for them or encourage them. Those are the calls that we miss.
Yeah.
And then we think that God is going to give us this humongous call, but we miss the small calls. So
no, you're absolutely right. And you know what, now that you said that, I don't think I've ever really thought about it that way.
That's
because you're right. I think, thank you. We look for that big call. We looking, you know, but yeah, you're right. He's been calling the whole time. Yes. And I think in some ways we've been answering it and not even really realizing
it. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, we've been doing it. And then we find ourselves in a space and you're like, wait, every yes led me to this.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you landed back in Atlanta. You said 14 years ago?
Well, 14 years we pastored. So maybe about 16.
Okay.
I think. Lost track of time.
And you started your own company? if I'm saying that correct. What is it? Fraser Financial and Computer Solutions. So what does that entail? What do you guys do?
So we do, of course, I do accounting work, financial management for various companies. And my husband is the computer side. I'm the financial side.
Gotcha.
My experience with computers is usually when they go down, just calling his name very loudly and asking help. So he does the computer side of it. He does networking, graphic arts, that kind of stuff. And I'm the financial person. And so we joined together. And we did that, because, one time I was in a service and somebody said, when you are an employee, I can't leave my job for my children. They just made
well, he's like, hold up.
I can't leave my children, my job at a company. So I thought it would be very meaningful for us to build something that can create generational wealth.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And, you don't necessarily have to put in your leave slip for when you want to take off Friday and hope that they'll let you go. I didn't have to ask anybody for time off to do this interview with me. Right.
I approved my own self.
That's funny. What your first project was that? Sweeter? Was that the first project?
You went way back.
There's a song on it. What was the song? Well, man, I might be mixing the CDs because it may have been the next one. So let me not talk, because there's a song that I like, but I think that was off your second project. Was it the second project is self-entitled, right?
Yes, I believe so. Because you've gone so far back. I'm just like, whatever you say at this point.
well, let's go back to the first one, Sweeter. You recorded that in the States, or was that in the Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Okay, because I heard the Caribbean sound, the island sound, and you are, based on the music that I've heard going back and even now, you are a true worshiper. That's what you do.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
It's who I am.
That's who you are. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no mistake in
that. No. I've always been very clear on that, going into music. And, someone that's listening, they may think that in the music industry, I have to change this or change that in order to fit in or to be accepted. And, a lot of times in the music industry, it's very easy to face rejection.
Yeah.
Because many times, people want you to do things a certain way. But even though, musical styles may vary on different projects, the one thing that I've always been very clear on is that I am a worshiper. And even through my music, more so than the songs, I want it to be evident that I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Like that's what's important for me, So I've always been pretty clear on that. That worship that's who I am.
Yeah, and it's strong. It comes across strongly in your music. It comes across strongly, and it's just even in conversing with you, you get that sense of, there's you like the up tempos and all that kind of stuff, but you worship. You are a true worshiper. Do you think being a worshiper, is that a calling? Is that something that you can grow into? Is that something that God has created you to? Well, we've all been created to worship, but do you think that that's just what he created you to do?
Right. I do think that we are all called to worship in some way or the other. Because that's what that's who he's looking for, right? He's looking for the true worshipers.
True worshipers, right.
I do think that one of the concerns I have in the body of Christ now is that we have learned how to sit in our seats and worship vicariously through someone else.
Yeah.
Like, you worship and let me sit here and watch you. Instead of engaging in worship, because that's what he requires. Worship is such an intimate place.
Absolutely.
And it really requires a certain relationship with God. So I think not so much that it's just what he has called me to do. I think it's what he's called everybody that's in a relationship with him, right? I've been married a long time, and I mean, intimacy is important.
Yes.
I don't think, I don't think that you would grow in a relationship without intimacy. Right. So I think it's just more so that I've embraced the fact that I'm a worshiper, because it goes beyond the songs I sing. A lot of people say, Pastor Keri, you're a worshiper because, the songs that you sing, or when they see me ministering, they see you are a worshiper. But for me, it is important that God sees me as a worshiper. Right. And that requires our relationship, our intimacy, what he sees about me when the lights aren't on. When we don't have the stage lights and the fog machines and the multitude of things that we create, around worship, does God say that about me? And that's really what's important. And it comes across. I see it. I see it. But would you say that someone who doesn't necessarily take the posture of worship, like in other words, standing with the hands lifted, or bowed over, maybe if it's someone's just sitting kind of quietly to themselves, can that be looked at and viewed as a form of worship? That's a really good question, because there are many expressions of worship. And what we don't want to do is box people into our style of worship. My job, to me, or my role as a worship leader, is to sing in a way that takes me out of the way. Gotcha. Okay. I never want to block your view of him. Right. And so I think we get kind of caught up in how people worship. At the end of the day, if you go into different countries, which is why for me, when you take on worship, it has to have a global mindset, right? Because you have to know how to navigate worship in different cultures, different places, with different people, different nations, different tongues. That's a different level in worship, because some people, they worship, but they only know one style of worship. Okay. Yeah. Right. And so if you're not doing that, you're not worshiping. You're not worshiping, right? But then you go into other countries and you get into a place of worship, and their reverence is to just sit there and just bask in the presence of God. Now, we need a holler and a shout and somebody running around or something, but you have to also embrace the differences in worship, right? Yes. I think more important than the expressions of worship is the fact that worship is about the value we place on God and what he says, what he does, what he desires, his will. The fact of the matter is, you can lift your hands all day. You can run around the house, run around the church, run around the street, whatever, and call it worship, bow down, whatever expression. But when God speaks to you and his word is not higher, his will is not higher than your will, when he speaks and you don't want to obey, your expression of worship, what difference does it make? Yeah, absolutely. Because that's worship to God. Yeah. Our obedience. Our reverence, our humility. Yeah. And see, I didn't grow up in church. I came later. And so when the church that I started going to, there was just this, what I thought church was, the way that they did church. Would you mention the running and the shouting? And I say, okay, this is how church do. Oh, got it. Okay. And then being an artist, I started traveling around, and I started traveling to different churches. And then I started seeing the way that they praised and worshiped. And I say, wait, so it's not like we do back in DC. It's different here in Florida at this church. Yes. Oh, and in another nation. Absolutely. Who knew? You know what I'm saying? So no, you're absolutely right. I guess it because those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. For he's a spirit, so worship him in spirit and in truth. Your second project, self-titled, Keri Fraser. Okay. Jesus Reigns is the song that I like off that. Oh, I love Jesus Reigns. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Now, was that also recorded? Recorded that in the islands? That one I think I recorded here. Okay. I recorded here. Yes. Yes. That
Why?
song means a lot.
Yeah, no, I love that song. Because as I started playing, I was like, oh, and I just kept it on repeat for a little while.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, no, that one right there it did a little something, you know.
I wrote the song while I was still in the Virgin Islands, but I recorded it in the US. Yes.
Gotcha. Why'd you go self-titled on that one?
I don't know. I know I should have some wonderful answer to that, but honestly,
something real deep.
Yeah, I feel like this is where I insert a very deep statement, but
everybody like, wow, that's amazing.
I don't remember why, and you know.
No, that's fine. That's cool. That's funny.
Just leave a space here. Insert deep statement later. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Send it over to me and we'll put it in, you know. That is too funny. But we talked about you being an author, your first book, Taking the Limits Off.
Yes.
What inspired that book?
I had actually done my first women's conference some years back, and that was the theme of it, because I felt as though we were operating with so many limitations, not just limitations on ourselves, but limitations on God. We believe God that He can, pay the mortgage, give us the money for the mortgage for the month, but not pay off the house. He can heal this, but not that, and we started putting so many limitations on God. And as a result, we put limitations on ourselves. We limit ourselves so much because, here's the thing. If you are in music and I'm in music, we can both be in music, but do something that's totally different.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we begin to limit ourselves when we start to compare ourselves among ourselves, which the Bible already told us is not wise.
Right.
And then we start to limit ourselves to this is the only way this can be done.
Yeah.
I may be a pastor, someone else may be a pastor, but their assignment is very different. And what I don't want to do is limit myself to think I can only do it like the next person. And then I stop opening myself to the leading of the Spirit of God. So I really wanted at that time women to understand that whatever God had placed inside of them, or whatever they were believing God for, to take the limits off of God, to just take the limits off of God. Let God be God.
Yeah, let God be God. And I guess because we kind of operating out of that insecurity, that fear.
Yes.
Like you just said, wow, look at him and look at the way he does it. I don't think what I'm doing, this is not working.
Yes.
Not knowing that what you are doing is reaching the people that God wants you to reach in the way that He called you to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hope that, I just hope that liberates someone who's listening today, because, so many times we forfeit the assignment because it doesn't look like anybody else, because we don't have a point of reference.
Point of reference, right.
Noah didn't have a point of reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet we are so grateful that he built an ark. But he had no point of reference. And so somebody who's, receiving that assignment from God that says, I don't know, I don't see anybody doing it that way. God has somebody He wants you to reach.
Right.
So, I don't want you to forfeit your assignment because you're limiting God to, it can only be done this way. Today, I said something. I said, when I come to God with a request, I won't bring the how into the conversation. Because when we ask God to do something, we want to tell Him how to do it. And we
give Him instructions.
God, here are the instructions for how you should do this. And so, no, I don't want to come with the how. However you choose to do it. And I just want to be part of it. You
say that, and that's really good. And, I'm guilty. So let me just go ahead
let
me man up. Yeah. Let me own it. But I think we come with the how because we're afraid of how He might tell us to do it. Like, I didn't want to go to Tarshish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, or which way did
He was going to Nineveh.
Nineveh, right? Yeah. So we're afraid of the way he wants us to go. We're like, well, let's do it this way, and I'll do it still. Yeah.
Yeah. We go to God with a whole lot of instructions.
Yeah. Wow. But God is good, and he always navigates us right back on path.
Yes, he does.
Now, and you mentioned, saying, you being a pastor, and, everybody's expecting the pastor to do it the right way the first time, hear the call the first time. When they hear it, get up and start running, or, jump to assignment, but when was the time when you heard God and you knew it was him, and you was like, are you sure though? But you still questioned the assignment.
Oof.
Pick one.
Yeah, I'm just like, how do you pick? Because I just feel like God just disrupts my agenda. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, to pick one is really difficult. I mean, I can definitely go back to having to move here and do this assignment, but I just feel like in so many things, it seems like God, he disrupts my agenda. He pulls me out of my comfort zone. And so many times he has to remind me to do it his way. Yeah. And I don't always like it. Yeah. I don't always like, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Because, when you're leading people, they have to understand your humanity. Mm-hmm. They have to understand that, no, we're not in that place as leaders where we always like what God tells us. Right. And so maybe in that, that humanity, you still see my humility. Mm-hmm. And you That's see good. That even though I struggle with it, eventually when I say yes, I see the benefit. Yeah. Because Jesus struggled with it. That's why he had to say, nevertheless, not my will. Nevertheless, absolutely. And we got a glimpse into what it's like to struggle even when you know it's God. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people say they struggle because I'm not sure, is this God? No. Sometimes it's God and you still struggle. You still struggle. Absolutely. One of the things that I know we as humans, if not all of us, but most of us or majority of us, is we don't like rejection. Woo! And you wrote an ebook, Released from Rejection. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you dealt with, personally, that you had to, I guess, overcome? Well, something, when I wrote Release from Rejection, I also said a 10-day journey to overcoming one of life's biggest obstacles, because I think everybody has to deal with rejection. Yeah. And that's why I think Jesus had to show us how to walk through that, because he was rejected. Yeah. And he had to show us how to walk through it. So in the book, I dealt with rejection, whether it's in your love life. Yeah. I sure did. To let that sink in. Rejection in your love life, rejection in ministry, rejection, on the job, just in ministry. They're just in your family life. Yeah. There's so many areas where we're dealing with rejection. And if you don't overcome it, sometimes you realize you're stuck. Yeah. Because rejection has this way of it's so painful. Absolutely. I start the book out by saying that it hurts. Mm-hmm. Rejection is hard and it hurts. Yeah. And sometimes we are living with the residue of that pain and we don't think so. But look at when you come to another opportunity, how you back off from it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah. That's that rejection kind of holding you stuck in a place that you can't move forward. Right. I tell people, we try to guard our hearts, but sometimes even when we've been rejected, even in our love lives, we build this wall around our heart, and we're determined that nobody's going to hurt me ever again. But the thing we don't realize about walls is the same wall that keeps hurt out is going to keep love out as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So we deal with rejection all the time, and it's something that we have to allow God to heal us from. You know, I think that's
I'm sorry. No. Let me cut you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is with Joseph.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and even in the book I wrote, you have to learn how to be very loved and very hated at the same time. Many times we don't know how to navigate that space. He was very loved by his parents. He was hated by his brothers.
Yeah.
And we're okay as long as we're in the love part. But the truth of the matter is, if you're going to be successful in life, if you're going to really accomplish anything, you got to be able to handle both at the same time.
At the same time. Wow. No, that's good. That is good. I mean, because you say that most of the times, I think a lot of times people don't pursue the dream because of fear of the rejection, because they rather guard, like you said, guard their heart and not hurt versus go fulfill their purpose or their passion or, you know, their call, whatever it is. But that fear of rejection is the thing that, like, it's not worth it. But then you looking back 25 years later, like, darn, I should have started then. Yeah. Yeah.
Then that rejection brings you into a lot of regret.
True.
You know, because you look back and you're just like, man, I should have gone full force into that opportunity. Yeah. Trust me, both my hands are off. You know, we're talking
guilty
today.
Yeah.
but you know, we live a life with regret because we didn't want to deal with the rejection. And being in the music industry, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
You deal with rejection. You know, you hear more no's than yes, you know, and it's very easy. This is going to help somebody because it's very easy for us to say, I don't want to be rejected. So I'm going to look through social media and I'm going to look at somebody who looks like they are successful. And I'm just going to become a copy of that. But you were created to be an original.
Yeah.
You know, you were created, you were uniquely created. And so when you embrace the unique you, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing because success is a relative term.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Success is a relative term. So success for somebody else is not the same as what God calls success for Keri. You know? And so when I'm looking at someone else and looking at what they're doing and trying to mimic what they're doing, I look at that as such an insult to God. You know what I mean? When I'm not the authentic person that he created and I'm just trying to be a carbon copy of someone else, that's an insult to the creator. Wow. You know?
That's good. That's good. I mean, because it's easy to look at another artist, another singer, another, whether you're a rapper or an accountant, I don't know, and say, but look at how they're doing it though.
Yeah.
They're clearly doing it right because they're successful. But like you said, it's what's success to you. And, you know, I guess only you could really tell, you know, but when it looks good over there, that shiny thing really catches your eye. It's kind of hard to look away.
It is hard. And if you're not careful, social media is such a snapshot of some things that are not always reality.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we are trying to copy something that's not even reality. You know what I mean? We're only seeing a portion of it. And so we're trying to change everything in our lives to mimic something that's not always reality. You know, this month is about, you know, mental health awareness and things like that. And if I could, you know, say anything today concerning that is, you know, just be so careful about trying to change who you are to become a copy of something that's not even real. Everything you see on social media isn't real. And there are a lot of people who take the pictures and they have the smile on their face and they show you the highlights, but you don't see the depression, the crying, the things that they're really dealing with. So I'm not trying to mimic my life off of anyone else, because I feel like this. If you're going to become a carbon copy of someone else, you're going to have to take the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
I don't want your fight.
Absolutely. Wow. You mentioned social media. Are you big on social media? Is that, a lot of people, that's their thing, what they on it every day. They're posting, they're doing videos, or they're whatever they're doing on it. Are you big on social media?
I use it as a tool when necessary to get the message out. I'm very protective of my privacy. So no, I'm not, you won't know what I'm eating. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Just know that I'm eating. I'm alive and well. Thank
right.
you. But, and hey, if that's the thing, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, for me, I look at it as a tool to promote, the gospel and, for people to connect with me and understand who I am. But also understand that part of who I am is that I'm also a private person, right? And I understand that I have a big life outside of social media. I remember years ago, I went on an international trip for my vacation, and my daughter said to me, well, no one will ever think that you went on a trip because you did not post one picture. You did not say you were going out of the country. And I said, but I know I did.
But
yes, very well aware that I was somewhere else.
Like, trust me, I was there.
Trust me when I tell you I was somewhere.
That's good. So, because everybody wants you to see every nook and cranny, and like you say, the highlight reel, and they'll show you just that little corner shot of the room, not showing you that the whole house is a mess. And I'm not saying physically, I'm talking about just emotionally and spiritually, and they just showing you that one little piece that just says, hopefully today I'll get some likes that'll make me feel better. Yeah.
I think it's a good tool. It's a good tool for us to connect. I'm grateful for the benefits that it brings. But I'm also aware that it's something you can become addicted to. I'm also aware that it can give you a very false narrative. Look at how many friends I have. Do you know those people? Can you call them in times of trouble? Look at how many followers I have. Well, where are you leading them? Where are you going? So sometimes it can create a false narrative. But I think that when you understand how to use it in a way that's beneficial, then it's a good thing. But we also have to make sure that the downside of that, like if God had to tell you put down social media for a day and you have to go kicking and screaming, then sometimes that's an indication that it's an idol. Yeah,
true that. Yeah, that's 100%. Tea with Pastor Keri show. What's the tea? What's the tea? Spill the tea. We need to know.
Well, I say growing up in the Virgin Islands, right? It was almost like you couldn't leave your house without drinking tea.
Okay.
You must.
That's an island thing, right? Because I have a Haitian friend of mine, and she who works with us here at the studio, and that's what she says. She's like, that's what we drink, tea.
Yeah, you gotta drink tea. Yeah, you have to drink tea before you leave the house. And so I grew up drinking tea, and I started just kind of doing my devotional while I was drinking tea.
Okay.
Then I started kind of bringing people into that space. So I would do recordings of my time, my devotion with God while I was drinking my tea. Then it became a show. It became a devotional journal. It became a lot of things. But really, it's just my time where I pause. I think we're very busy today. And sometimes absolutely. Unnecessarily so.
True.
Because so true. I realized that with Jesus, he could minister to crowds and crowds of people, but he had no problem stepping aside.
You're right.
Going away, leaving them for a moment. I get concerned when we think that 15 minutes out of the view of people will make us irrelevant. Jesus could step aside because he knew when he came back, he was still the solution.
He was still relevant.
He was always relevant.
Right.
And so, it's okay to pause. It's okay to reflect, to take some time and just connect with God and find out what's the next assignment. Sometimes you're so busy, you don't get the next download. I like to say if Abraham didn't have an opportunity to pause for a moment and hear from God the second time, Isaac would be gone.
Yeah.
Because what he was doing was in complete obedience.
Absolutely.
But if he didn't get the second message, we'd have a problem.
There would have been some things. Yeah, that's good.
There's a ram in the bush, but you so busy, you didn't hear that part. Poor Isaac.
That has how has the pandemic, I guess, as well as social media, or has it affected the way you do church? If that's the right way to say it.
Me as the pastor of a congregation, or me personally?
I guess I would say both. Because I'll say both.
I'll start with me personally.
Okay.
One of the things that I realize about God is how well he prepares us for other seasons. And many times when we have an abundance of something, we don't take advantage of it. The reason why I'm saying that is, with Joseph, he had to give a strategy for when they had years of plenty,
right,
to allow them to kind of ride through the years where it would be lean and a famine and all of that. So the reason I'm saying that is, for me, it was always important to have the prayer life, to have the time of fasting, that outside of the church, I have a personal relationship with God. And that was always important for me because I believe that it's very difficult to do in public what you don't do in private.
Amen.
And so having that foundation with the pandemic, I felt like even when I couldn't go into the building, that didn't stop the worship I did in my house.
Right.
That's where my worship begins. So I did say to many people that the pandemic really kind of showed us in a lot of ways where we had the deficiencies in our relationship with God. Because when we didn't have the building to go to, many people didn't know how to have that relationship. It's kind of like when you are in a relationship with a person, married people, and you make your life all about the kids, the children, and about all these different things. And then when the children grow up, you're like, who is this person living in my house?
There's a stranger in my house. Yeah.
This stranger in my house. You see? Yeah. And so for God, for a lot of people, it was like we kind of had so much stuff built around him that when we had to come into the house and it was just God with us, it was like, who are you? Yeah. Well, when it was just God and me, I was like, God, this is what we love to do.
Right. So walking with them in the cool of the day.
But in terms of the church, we kept going to the church, not with everybody, but initially we kept going and kind of still doing the word and, putting it out so people could get the word. And then eventually we had the people come back. So right now we do services, but we have been really, really trying to teach people the importance of that personal relationship. Yeah. I think now we've always done it, but now that they saw how things can be, they're like, now I get exactly. Yeah. You are your own praise and worship leader.
Amen.
You are the person that should be preaching and declaring things over your life because you're in the work.
Yeah.
Now you do it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's real good. Now, churches, because of the pandemic, not just churches, businesses, organizations, we, of course, some operate slightly different. Some under mandates as a church, or you guys, because I remember reading recently where I forgot what pastor it was, who you couldn't come into the church without either your vaccine card or, your within 72-hour COVID tests, to say that you were negative. What kind of mandates or restrictions or that you have over yours?
Well, what we have done, of course, we've been following the guidelines in terms of social distancing. We definitely made sure that we have social distancing. Masks are worn throughout the service. Of course, all the sanitizing of areas and all of that stuff. But one of the other things that we do is we have a Zoom call session during the service, so that anyone who's not comfortable, they can still be a part of what's happening on the inside. Gotcha. Different people, they're having a different mindsets when it comes to those restrictions. My thing is, I want you to get the word, so I'm not going to let that be something that divides us. No, that's good. Now let's get to the good stuff. Oh my! All that stuff wasn't good.
It was good. Okay, well, let's take it up a notch.
Oh my! Let's go deeper.
Right. Let's talk about the new single, Grace. I'm going to talk about Open Heaven because, again, that's my joint. There's Open Heaven.
You know what's so funny about that? Like, when I speak to people, they're like, well, I like this one. I like this one. Well, and I'm just like, you do realize I wrote all of them. So right. I'm not offended in the least.
Either one, right? I'm good with that.
They're that's like, funny. Pastor Keri, I know you wrote this song, but this is the one I like. And I'm like, okay.
Whether you like whether you like the chicken or the steak, I've cooked them both. It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's funny. So Grace is out. And the new video is out. Congratulations.
Thank you
love the two singles, because it's just the two singles out right now, Open Heaven and Grace. Will they be on the same project?
Open Heaven was on a previous project.
That was on a previous. See, I thought that was new. Maybe because I just like it so much.
People just love Open Heaven, and everywhere I go, I sing it.
Yeah.
Yes, but Open Heaven was released like 5 years ago.
Really? Oh man.
Yes.
I played a song. Well, 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago. I love it.
That's why it's important to write things that are relevant.
That is right. That is so true. That song will be played 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and it'll still be just as still as relevant as it is then as it is now. Yes. But Grace,
yes,
you released that. Like I said, the video is out.
Yes, I released Grace August
of this year.
Yes.
Okay. What inspired the song?
The last year and a half was challenging, very challenging to all of us. And I was actually working on a live project. I was working on a live project, and that got put on hold. And when I came into 2021, I had no idea. I had all my songs written for the live project. And I came into 2021, I had no idea that I was going to write Grace. But I realized that a lot of people felt overwhelmed. They were so overwhelmed, with everything that was happening, everything that they were going through. And myself, I was going through so many challenges. And I was in a church service, and the preacher was preaching about grace, the grace of God. And he said, I want everybody to just begin to pray and ask God to release grace, to impart grace. And as I was praying, the song came. Like the song just came. And so I was trying to sing it into my phone so I wouldn't miss it. And I felt like really this was something that the Lord was given to me to release that message to people about his grace. Because, sometimes you're dealing with so much stuff and you're just like, no, the grace of God is still available. Yeah. He's still right there. He still empowers us to do what we can't do in our own strength, And so I felt like that needed to be released at this time.
Yeah. No, that beautiful song.
Yeah.
It is. Y'all have not heard it? Go to YouTube, because that's where you can watch the video. Is it under Keri Fraser?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Keri Fraser, Grace, and the song inspires me because sometimes I'm just like, God, I need your grace.
Yeah.
Grace isn't just like this passive thing. Grace is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because what you can't do, what I can't do in my own strength, the grace of God comes in and gets it done.
Yeah.
And I think people also needed to know about that God loves them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're going through these difficult challenges in life, it's very easy for you to be like, God, where are you? Do you care about what I'm dealing with?
Can't you see me?
Do you see me? Can you hear me?
Right.
And we've all been there, but when we start to acknowledge the grace of God and realize that it doesn't matter how far we've gone, it doesn't matter how low we've become in our faith, that grace comes in and says, I got you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Wow.
His grace is amazing.
His grace is amazing. Now, where can people pick up that amazing grace, the song Grace, and all your social medias and all that good stuff?
All the good stuff. Okay. Well, Grace is available on all music outlets. So they can all the places that you go to get your good music, go and look for Grace. Definitely connect with me. My website is www.kerifraser.com. And on Facebook, Keri Fraser Official. On Instagram, I am Keri Fraser. And I definitely want to connect. I love to encourage people. I just love it. It's who I am, right? But I love to encourage people, and I want us to stay connected. And definitely, where you listen to music on radio stations, tell them that you want to hear Grace.
Absolutely.
Tell them that you want to hear Grace. It's going to bless you. It's going to bless you.
Now, I listen, I was a part of the Praise Factor Awards and doing the backstage stuff, hosting, but I did not get the chance to see the full show. So before I let you go, because I know you were nominated, and I could not remember if you won or not for season 14. And in which category?
I picked up 2 awards this year for Praise Team of the Year, and also for Songwriter of the Year. Yes,
congratulations.
And that means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, you're an awesome songwriter. I can tell you that.
Thank you so much.
Was there ever a time that R&B played a role? Did you ever consider it?
No.
No.
No. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I didn't. Because I actually didn't even really consider singing until really I already had a relationship with Christ. So this is just who I am, though.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
This is me. So no, I didn't. I feel like everybody has their assignment, and this is mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's mine because when I'm doing it, I feel like this is exactly where I need to be.
Amen. Well, we thank God that you have answered the call and taken on the assignment and is doing the will of God. And again, people, if you don't have it, go pick up the project or download the project Grace on all digital streaming platforms. Go check out the website, kerifraser.com. .com. And that's KERIFRASER.com.
There you go.
And find out all the good stuff you need to know. Again, Pastor Keri, I thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of the show. Like I said, I've seen you at several different awards, and I was like, I want to meet her, but I want to wait my turn because you know, I fall back a lot. And so when I got the chance to meet you recently, I was like, oh, finally. Yes. I thank God for that.
You.
No. It's all about you. Hit me.
Can I just say something really quickly? I'm learning something. Okay. I'm learning something. I'm a giver, and I have to learn that I have to also be a receiver, right? And so sometimes when someone is trying to give me something, I say, no. It's fine. And so I'm learning now in this season how to receive something, because sometimes receiving something releases something to that person.
Amen. Okay.
So I want to say to you, so you don't do the no. You are doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you. I'm really grateful for what you're doing and all you're doing for the kingdom. And I know it's not easy. I know people may just see you behind the mic, but we all know, those of us who have to do ministry know there's a whole lot happening behind the scenes and a whole lot of times that we don't, we want to give up. So I just want you to know that you're an incredible gift and you are amazing in your own right. And I'm really grateful that you have also accepted the call. Thank you for having me. I'm truly honored to be here. Will you receive that?
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank because I will shy away from when people start talking.
I know.
Nope, don't. But thank you. And truly thank you. I mean it. All right. It's your boy G-Wade holding it down, G-Wade Podcast, and I'm kicking it alongside with my man Deacon. Y'all know what it is.
The G-Wade Podcast. The G-Wade Podcast. Bringing you the cool interviews, the hot topics, and all that other crap. The G-Wade Podcast with Deacon Dirty.